everyone. I'm Katie DeGorter. I'm representing our team from Analytic Partners. We just heard the challenge, so I'm going to jump right in and talk to you about our solution. So as Claudia mentioned, very interesting dynamics here with Intel being an ingredient brand. And the challenge was quite broad in terms of the number of products that we needed to analyze and the number of data sources that we were provided. So we took a multi-dimensional approach to this and structured the data by month, by manufacturer, processor, and device, so that we were able to, with one model, actually understand sales impact for these 27 different products, but still have the flexibility to explore how the dynamics might be similar or different across these different manufacturers, processors, and devices. And within our analysis, we were capturing the relationships between advertising spend, Twitter, brand tracking data from Kantar and YouGov, and search. And we netted out taking a kind of a nested model approach. So I'll kind of walk you through what that looked like, but essentially we had a very simple model to understand and predict what's driving revenue, but then we also had the ability to drill in and dig deeper to understand what was driving those different metrics and get a lot of rich insight from that. So we were very kind of confident in this approach we ended up with for a couple of different reasons. First, you can see that our model fit very well. We had a very high R-square, a low average monthly percent error, and we did some different holdout tests to ensure that the predictive power was strong. So, cutting the data in October and predicting through November and December of 2016, we had, strong accuracy there, which made us feel really good. Now, how we got here was through very in-depth data landscaping, really looking at thousands of different data points, different metrics and combined metrics, and using different statistical techniques to kind of boil the ocean and pare down what was most meaningful so that we could start testing that within the models themselves. And what we found in terms of our revenue model was that we could get very strong prediction accuracy from actually 3 inputs. So revenue was a function of category purchase intent, so I'm in the market for a PC, coupled with brand purchase intent, so I want a PC and I want a Dell. And interestingly, we didn't see that Intel purchase intent was meaningful in this, but rather Intel's brand communication awareness was extremely meaningful in terms of driving Intel processors and actually stealing from those products that had AMD. And so this is where, as an ingredient brand, we got this really interesting insight that consumers don't actually even realize that they're choosing a product based on the ingredient, based on Intel, but almost subliminally, that brand communication is working to influence the purchase decision. And what was really cool with this is that 2 of those 3 key metrics are actually leading indicators, which means that for businesses that are tracking these different brand health metrics, they can start to predict what revenue is going to be in the future. So, with those 3 metrics, we wanted to drill in deeper and understand what was driving each of those. For the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to drill into kind of what was driving that Intel brand communication. And what we found was quite interesting. Of that total impact, more than half was actually from discussions in social media and word of mouth, not just from advertising. So these discussions were working to amplify advertising and also drive incremental impact. And drilling into those discussions further, we wanted to quantify and start to understand just how valuable they really were. Now, bear in mind, this is a high purchase consideration category. Consumers are going to obviously do a little bit of research before making a decision. And so these discussions turned out to be very, very impactful. With Twitter, now this could be a consumer tweeting about Intel, it could be Intel tweeting to its consumers, but on average we found that one Twitter impression was over 100 times more impactful than a paid media impression. And similarly, generating word of mouth, generating those discussions between consumers was significantly more impactful than media, as you might imagine. So our analysis was really able to demonstrate just how important these discussions in word of mouth and in social media really are to these high consideration products. And so certainly something that we could reapply to other businesses as well. And so we understood how important discussions were. The last step was to dig even deeper to see what types of discussions matter most. So as part of the analysis, we took a look across all the different touch points, all the different tactics that we had, and we did a really, really in-depth analysis, looking back and testing and iterating on anywhere between 0 to 3 years to look at how long is that exposure being retained in the consumer's mind. And what we found was quite interesting. TV, maybe not surprisingly, was having that longest retained impact on consumers. Probably most interestingly, though, is that negative word of mouth had a very, very long impact. So consumers were remembering that negative PR a lot more than positive word of mouth, or for a lot longer than that positive word of mouth. So I think this is kind of an interesting finding that would have implications on strategy when brands such as PC brands are faced with any negative PR or word of mouth. So I think we have a lot of kind of deep learning that we were able to generate here, many of which would be reapplicable to any products that are in high consideration categories, as well as businesses with ingredient brands like Intel. So thank you.